Faraz Shaukat Ali.
And top of the morning to you. This is Newsline, live from the Newsfirst studios in Dorset Street in Colombo. And joining me this morning is Mr. Maxwell Paranagama, the former chairman of the Presidential Commission on Missing Persons and retired High Court judge. Very good morning to you, Mr. Paranagama, and thank you very much for being here with us. Mr. Paranagama, your name is ever so familiar. The Paranagama report. What's happening with that? Why is it so famous or infamous?
Well, it was a report that we prepared after hard work, going into north and east, into 8 districts, having public sittings at 19 locations. We wrote out a comprehensive report based on the evidence and submission made by various complainants.
Yeah.
And it was a balanced report, setting out various allegations of all parties involved in the conflict, and we have recommended certain incidents that need to be investigated.
Investigated by whom now?
By a judge-led investigation team.
Right.
So it was a balanced report, and I think most public accepted that. And I think report was successful where public opinion is concerned. There may be people who may criticize the report. Probably they may have not read the report thoroughly. And if they read it, they will know that it's a balanced report.
Right.
Before our report, it was one of the views that it is the security forces who had done what are wrong.
Right.
But now it has shifted.
Right.
That public are aware wrongs have been committed, may have been committed by both sides.
Right.
So the opinion has shifted now.
Right. What period of time? 8 districts, 19 hearings. What period of time?
During two and a half years.
In 2.5 years. And are you happy that? How do you view it?
Well, we got 20,000 written complaints.
Right.
From north and east.
All on camera?
Or written complaints. Of that, 4,800 are duplicates.
Right.
Sometimes the father sends, sister sends. So when you leave that, about 16,000 complaints.
Right.
Of that 6,400, we heard complaints orally.
Right.
In all those 8 districts.
Right.
And of those, on the basis of oral submissions made, we have picked out certain matters to be investigated by the judge-led investigation team. And they have done good work, and some ongoing investigations. They have been able to get valuable information in regard to about 14 people who had gone missing. So the duration is not enough. I think it will take over another year if you really cover everything up. So at the moment, it's only allegations.
Right.
Against both sides.
Right.
They are not being proved.
Right.
They have to be investigated in depth, and thereafter the security forces must be called up to explain those matters.
Right.
After hearing both sides, only you can come to final conclusion.
So this investigatory process, what's the process? Who would do it? Would it be the police? Would it be...
No.
Who would it be?
No, earlier we asked for an investigating team, then the president then referred to the IGP, and they named 5 CID officers from the present who were in the department.
Who was serving.
Yeah, but we said we are not satisfied. The people in the north didn't like at that time the CID officers.
Right.
So we were waiting for a authority to appoint independent people.
Yeah.
When the present president came, when we asked, he said for us to appoint. But we asked for 4 teams. we were given permission to appoint one team.
Right.
We appointed 4 senior retired investigators from the CID who were retired very much earlier.
Right.
And we appointed another retired High Court judge to lead that team.
Right.
So it's a judge-led investigating team.
Right.
So they were doing work. They have investigated on 275 cases that we have referred to. They have questioned about 900 witnesses. Those witnesses are from Colombo, east, north. It's a long process. They go there for about 2 weeks. They stay there. They investigate, and they have already found about 12 to 14 in respect of missing people, valuable information. And some of those incidents that alleged to have occurred by both sides are ongoing, undergoing investigations.
I have an SMS from one viewer. He says, Mr. Panagama, there is no both sides. Karuna should be held accountable first. All the evidence is available.
Yeah, we heard from the complainants some of the incidents that occurred that Karuna Group, EDP, done, plot had done. So recorded all that, and we were referring those matters for investigation when our commission was terminated.
Why was your commission terminated?
I think UN wanted our commission to be terminated and set up a permanent office for missing person. So for that we had to give away.
Which is now we have the Office of the Missing Persons.
Yeah, being established.
Yes, being established. When is this all going to, how will it come to a natural conclusion? Can it come to a natural conclusion?
Well, of course, what the OMP will do. Well, of course, as regard to OMP, that bill I have not read still thoroughly. And of course, I don't like to talk about the OMP because I want our work to be considered very independent. So if I go to speak about the OMP, I may get involved in politics, which I don't really want to.
But what's the process? What's the, how does one achieve reconciliation? What's the whole process like? What do we?
You see, we have recommended a mechanism also.
Yes, I think that's what I meant. Mechanism.
Mechanism. Now, if there is evidence against a security officer or any LTT or any member of the militant group, there must be a mechanism set up. We are recommended that mechanism after studying all mechanisms practiced in other countries, the Gambia, Uganda, Bosnia. We have studied all that. We have analyzed that. That is in our report in detail. And we have formulated a mechanism suitable for us. So now, criminal legal procedure is there for criminal accountability. For reconciliation, there must be a truth commission for reconciliation. We have made use of that. What he said is, if one officer or any member of the LTT or militant is accused of any offence, he must be given a process. That is first I said, if some officer who is alleged to have committed an offence wants to go through a legal process and prove himself is not responsible or want to go through a legal process for his defence, a criminal high court must be established. But it must be presided by a local judge. Then there must also be a Truth and Reconciliation Commission. If an officer wants to admit committing a crime under certain circumstances, commission must be available, go through the go before the commission and say, I committed this crime under these circumstances and ask for amnesty.
Right.
And the commission can go through his honesty
Yeah.
regard to his admission and give him accountable amnesty. Just not making to go free. Studying all the circumstances he committed, he may be given some sort of amnesty with some accountability.
Right.
So by doing that, I think, and also the Truth and Reconciliation Commission also must be composed of local officers who can even be appointed through a constitutional council.
Yeah.
And also, evidence must be led by our own Attorney General.
Right.
And investigation into crime must be through our local judge, retired local judge, led investigation team. So it should be a domestic process altogether.
I was about to say that you've given this explanation or this process, and there doesn't appear to be room for any international involvement.
Yeah, because our country has a very remarkable history of our legal system,
Yeah.
and we are capable of doing it.
But our country also has a equally remarkable, if I may say so, a remarkable system of ignoring the problem. Well, I mean, we must get to the bottom of the people's concerns. They are also citizens of our country, and they have genuinely lost somebody, or so we must address those concerns and so on.
Yeah, now this 6,400 who make oral submission, they are suffering with lot of grief.
Yeah.
Because some member have been missing.
Correct.
It may be due to crossfire, person might be dead.
Yeah.
You see, then lot of the LTT made use of civilians as a human shield.
Yeah.
Then when the civilians are put into a no-fire zone, they also got into civilians and started shooting.
Yeah.
The army and security officers had to return, and crossfire. There would have been collateral damage.
Yeah.
When the civilians were trying to escape them from the no-fire zone, they stayed, the LTT stayed at various places and shot at them. And there were school children who had been taken as human shield. So those things, through that, lot of members of some families are missing or killed. So there are allegations also.
Yeah.
After during the last phase of the war, when they crossed the lagoon, they have surrendered and they say they are missing.
Right.
So those are matters we have said we should investigate. So we were on process of investigating. We had to find out who on duty, who took them, whether they surrendered.
So by necessity, it's not a quick and easy process.
No, it's a fairly long process.
Yeah. Do you think this it'll be going on even 10 years from now?
Not 10 years, it takes about if you appoint 5 to 6 investigation teams.
Yeah.
And you may be able to expedite to say about 3 years or so.
And this mechanism, this process, what at the end of the day it will provide, hopefully provide some explanation. But what about compensation? Do you all deal with that?
Yeah, we are recommended now. These people who have been subject to war, collateral damage, their life has been disrupted.
Yeah.
So their life must be put back to normal.
Right.
They need a lot of money. They have the two governments have given 25,000, 50,000, 100,000 rupees.
Yeah.
We have said that is not enough.
Of course.
It must go up to about 500,000. Each case separately value what they need. And they must be monitored after giving the money, whether they are utilizing them for them to get on with it.
Right. In your investigations and the matters that you looked into, Mr. Panagama, did you look into the issue where I think there were 17 workers that were killed?
Well, up to now, the 6,400 people who have made submissions have not made reference to those matters. Still,
okay.
so they were concerned with the members they are lost in their family.
Right. So members of these 17 people didn't, well, there's nothing to complain, they're not missing.
They did not
killed.
come before us.
Right.
So, but if you continue, there are another 10,000 complaints to hear.
Yeah.
So it might come up during that, then we will take appropriate action for investigations.
We'll see. But overall, if we go into the claims that the Sri Lankan forces, the allegations that the Sri Lankan forces deliberately fired on, say, hospitals and so on during the last stages. I was reading one explanation about the craters caused. It appears that unless you investigated and looked at the craters soon after the event, there was no real plausible way of coming to a proper conclusion that this crater was caused by XYZ.
No, if you set about it and given enough time and a good investigating team, we will be able to ascertain all that.
Right.
And of course, there are incidences referred against the security forces.
Yeah.
It's not a planned thing, but it occurred as collateral damage, or maybe one or two officers who may have gone outside the legal activity and done.
Yeah.
So those things must be investigated. They are still only allegations.
Yeah.
But whereas then, if you speak about the LTT, how much of violation of international humanitarian law?
Yeah. But who's going to be accountable? Are we going to get out the KP or Karuna? Who is left to this to?
Yeah, where LTT, since some of those people are already killed.
Yeah.
But anyway, for the purpose of information, we have to investigate.
Indeed.
You see, making human shields, school children taken now. They got into civil clothes and got mixed up with the civilians, started firing. That is you misguide the people.
Yeah.
You get into civil clothes and get into civil crowd and shoot. That's also a violation of international law.
Right.
And then when they try to escape from the period zone, they shot at them.
Right.
When they were trying to escape from the LTT crust and try to cross the lagoon, they shot. The complainants themselves had told such incidents that they are shot. And another thing is the proportionality.
Yeah.
Now, what was the target of the security forces? To free the hostages over 300,000.
Yeah.
To do that, they had to get at the leader.
Yeah.
So they were moving. When they were moving, you see, there were resistance from the LTT. So they have to act. So they have a collateral damage.
Yeah.
Now, collateral damage, you have to weigh the target they went on.
Yeah.
And the target they reached, and the advantage they got, and the amount of damage done.
Yeah.
So that's a proportionality. So we say it's within that principle of proportionality.
I see. What do you have to say about claims that appear to have now gained, it's like received wisdom now, and that is to do with this figure.
40,000
40,000.
No. We deny that. Because...
Up? Was it more?
No. Very much less.
Less?
We say, we also can't say the exact number. We are honest about it.
Right.
But it is not high as 40,000. Because...
On what basis?
We have set up the basis.
Right.
Now, Danusman report says 40,000.
Yeah.
They don't say on what basis.
Right.
Just merely say 40,000.
Right.
But we say it's not 40,000. We have given reason for that.
Right.
Because we got communication sent by the embassies, the US embassy, and by various NGOs.
Yeah.
and our Department of Statistics also did some work,
Yeah.
and weekly send messages.
Yeah.
We took all that into consideration, and it's the last phase is over from January 2009 to 2000 May 18. We say it's less than 10,000 killed.
Was there a case that the armed forces bombed in the north, that they bombed indiscriminately?
Well, there were some allegations like that.
Yeah.
So we have said those things have to be investigated in depth by a judge-led investigation team, and
Well-
we were doing it
Yeah.
when we were terminated.
Right.
Of course, there were makeshift hospitals.
Yeah.
There were makeshift hospitals, and also there is evidence from the public who came before us that LTT also placed the heavy weapons near the hospital and started firing. So that is also a violation of international law.
Correct, but it's
Keeping-
also a difficult call. What do you do then if the army knew that, and they also knew that there was a field hospital?
But
Is it all right for the army to bomb them?
now there is, you have to use arms, whatever the circumstances, when it's absolutely essential.
Yeah.
Then you are not violating the law. You see, if the LTT placed their guns close to the hospital
Yeah.
and started shooting, and it was essential for the security forces to shoot back, I don't think they have violated the law.
Yeah.
But we have to investigate and see whether hospitals were damaged, as said, whether there was essential situation for them to return back.
I'm going to ask you this. What on earth would have happened during the JVP years if the armed forces launched into a sort of indiscriminate attack on them? The South would have erupted in absolute anger because there would have been so much of collateral damage.
Well, I don't think that comparison is correct.
You can't. Why is that?
Because these are non-intentional armed conflict
Yeah.
confined to at the last stage of north.
Yeah.
JVP was scattered,
All over.
All over.
So,
there are no.
so because it was concentrated, it was all right to bomb them, even though there was.
No, that's what I said now.
Yeah.
They have to free over 300 hostages.
Right.
You see?
Yeah.
For that you have to get told
300,000.
LTT. So they have to proceed. While doing that, they succeeded.
Yeah.
There are collateral damage.
Yeah.
You have to see the damage done there and the target reached, whether there is proportionality.
Do you think it was spectacularly ill-advised for those statements that were made at the end of the war, when it was like 0 casualties?
Well, we have said in the report,
Yeah.
the approach of the security forces
Yeah.
was to achieve their target with 0 casualties.
Yeah, but they didn't
Yeah.
say that.
Huh?
They said, the former president and the former defense secretary said, and we've got it on record, they said there was no collateral damage. I mean, they didn't talk of collateral damage, they said 0 casualties. What kind of a statement is that? Surely the international, the press picked up on that, and half or more of our problems stem from that sort of thing, because it was many months later that it was clarified that the policy was to have 0 casualties.
Well, what others said, I am not aware, and it's not within my purview to make comment.
Yeah.
We went on writing a report on the evidence that came up before us,
Yeah.
and some of the evidence that came before us,
Yeah.
for certain matters, we have to summon 1 or 2 officers, and the nature they acted,
Yeah.
we came to some conclusion. They acted with the intention of 0 casualties.
Yeah.
Because now lot of officers died
Yeah.
during the last phase of the war, trying to help the civilians to come across the lagoon,
Yeah.
and while trying to save the civilians.
Can we put a time frame on reconciliation? Is that possible?
Yes, now reconciliation is a matter where there is now suspicion among certain communities.
Yeah.
That suspicion must be got out.
Yeah.
Now how do you get the suspicion? You have to change the mind. Who can change the mind? Can you amend the laws and change the mind of people? That
Yeah.
is not possible.
Yeah.
So there should be a good system of education
Yeah.
towards people to develop their mind that everyone is a human being, that you have to coexist. Then the religious leaders must also do their part. Their religious approach must be there to correct their mind that all are human beings, that we must live together without conflict. So it's a long process. At the same time, you have to help these people.
It's a long process, and just as we come to the end of our time this morning, it's a long process. Do you detect a real commitment to sort the problem out?
They are trying to bring about, the constitution, devolution and all that.
Yeah.
But the poor public who came before us, they are not much concerned about that. They want their livelihood put right,
Yeah.
and to live in peace. There are little bit of suspicion in them that if some incident like 1983 problem comes,
What will happen to
what
them?
will happen to us? They are insecurity, although there is peace now.
So, final question. Do you detect a real commitment on the part of government to give them some comfort? To give all of us that comfort?
Yeah, but
Because your life and mine as well will be affected if we have these events again.
the governments are doing certain things,
Yeah.
but the priorities are not set out properly. Priorities are first put them back their livelihood,
Get their lives back.
right? Then increase interaction between communities. Then that insecurity, by interaction, you can solve that problem.
Right.
So sports activities, cultural activities. So first priorities, not
Must prioritize. That's the message.
yeah.
Maxwell Paranagama, thank you very much for being on Newsline. We appreciate your time. Thank you for watching Newsline. Take care and have an excellent day ahead of you. God bless.
Thank you.
Newsfirst.